This is the lecture of Chapter 2 of Human Resource Management BCom Sem 1. Chapter 2 name of this chapter is Human Resource Planning. Now, first of all, I repeat the main points of this chapter. What is Human Resource Planning? Introduction of Human Resource Planning, definition of Human Resource Planning, characteristics of Human Resource Planning, need for Human Resource Planning, objectives of Human Resource Planning, types of Human Resource Planning, factors affecting Human Resource Planning, Human Resource Planning procedure, then after advantages of Human Resource Planning, and then limitations of Human Resource Planning. First of all, what is introduction? The Human Resource Planning is an integral part of the overall planning of any business unit. No business can prosper in the absence of sincere efforts of personnel is a fact that requires no further explanation. Human resource planning serves two purposes. First, to get maximum out of the present employees of the company, and second, to provide for future manpower requirements. Then after, definition of human resource planning is at the national level and at the business unit level. At the national level, it would be concerned with factors such as population, economic development, provision of facilities for education, and geographical mobilities, etc. And it would be responsibility of the government. Now, definition of human resource planning. According to A.R. Smith, human resource planning involves the projection of manpower demand, the projection of manpower supply, and action to bring supply and demand into balance at a desirable level. Then after, according to RFA Ops, human resource planning is a process of collecting and analyzing information and making estimates for the following purposes: to determine the possible effect on manpower of the current and proposed manpower policies, and to suggest policy to solve the current and future problems of manpower. Then after, Gordon McBeath holds that human resource planning involves two stages. The first stage is concerned with the detailed planning of manpower requirements for all types and levels of employees throughout the period of the plan, and the second stage is concerned with planning of manpower supplies to provide the organization with the right type of people from all sources to meet the planned requirements. Then after, human resource planning is defined by Vetter as the process by which management determines how the organization should move from its current manpower position to its desired manpower position. Through planning, management strives to have the right number and the right kind of people at right places at right time, doing things which result in both the organization and the individual receiving maximum long-run benefit. Then after, fifth definition is human resource planning is the process including forecasting, developing, and controlling by which a firm ensures that it has the right number of people and right kind of people at the right places at the right time doing work for which they are economically most useful. So, definition that main ingredient of human resource planning are as under. First ingredient of human resource planning is manpower inventory. Then after, estimating future requirements. Then after, estimating manpower supply. Then after, balancing of supply and demand. Then after, beneficial to both parties. then after integrated approach. So these are all the main points of definition of the main ingredients of human resource planning. Now, characteristics of human resource planning. First is managerial function, then after beneficial to both parties, then after top management's responsibility, then after for all grades of employees, then after modern concept, then after all aspects of personnel included, then planning for long term and short term, and then beneficial to the society. So these are all the main characteristics of human resource planning. Now, need for human resource planning. First is socialist ideology, then after modern viewpoint, then after planning in all field of management, then after reducing labor cost, then after technological changes, then after balancing demand and supply, then government restrictions. So these are all the need for human resource planning. Then fifth point is objectives of human resource planning. What is first of all, first objective is to ensure optimum use of current employees of the organization. Then after for achieving the objectives of the whole organization, forecasting of the future requirements is to be made. Then another objective is third objective is for the certainty of availability of the necessary resources provides control measures. Then fourth objective is to access correct estimate of manpower requirements and make optimum use of manpower. Then fifth objective is to determine plans for the employee training and development and make schedule for it. Then sixth objective is reduction in labor costs by making better use of employees. Then seventh point is for the achievement of organization's objectives, collect information for necessary requirements of employees and their qualifications for it. So these are all the main objectives of human resource planning. Now, types of human resource planning. On the basis of the level of human resource planning, first of all, first point is human resource planning at the national level. Second is human resource planning at the firm level. First is human resource planning at the national level. In that, it is an integral part of the economic planning for the development of national economy as a whole. Then, second point is human resource planning at the firm level. Just as human resource planning is necessary to make the best use of human resources at the national level. Then, second point or second type of human resource planning is on the basis of time period. From the viewpoint of the period of time covered, there are three types of manpower planning. First is short-term manpower planning, second is medium-term manpower planning, then after third is long-term manpower planning. First is short-term human resource planning. In that, generally a short-term planning covers a period of 1 year or so. Then medium-term human resource planning. It covers a period of 2 to 5 years. At the national level, medium-term manpower planning is invariably conceived as an integral part of the 5-year plan, wherein provision is made for the creation of new employment opportunities. At the company level, medium-term manpower planning aims at training and development of skill among the employees so that within at least a period of 5 years skilled labor may become available in adequate number. Then Third point is long-term human resource planning. Long-term manpower planning is for the period of 10 to 15 years. Generally, it is framed at the national level with a view to estimating labor requirements of the whole economy and provide for the education and training facilities to meet with those requirements at a right time. So these are all the main types of human resource planning. Seventh point is factors affecting human resource planning. In that internal factors. In that first point is top management's policy. If the policy of management is progressive and the workforce is satisfied, the quantum of workforce will be more with less number of workers. There will be no serious problem of transfer and dismissal, that is, the rate of labor turnover will be low. Then after second point is size of business. The larger the size of the business, the greater will be requirements of labor. Then after third point is financial resources. The programs of recruitment, training, etc. involve expenditure on the part of the company. Then after technique of production. If labor-intensive technique of production is adopted, more labor will be required. If capital-intensive technique is introduced, then less but high-skilled labor will be required. So these are the main points of internal factor. Now I explain external factors. First is technological factors. What is technological factors? Technological factors that affect the number and skill of labor required are changes in method of production, organization and distribution. Then after social factors, in that under this category, the major factors in influencing manpower planning are the population, education and training, social mobility of the people and the state policy of employment for the local population. Then after economic factor is also one of the point of external factors. Continuous changes are taking place in the economy. Of course, rate of change may differ from one sector of economy to the other. Then after political factors, the business and therefore labor requirements are affected by three types of political factors, namely foreign policy of the government, industrial law and monetary policy. The nature of relationship with foreign countries does affect industrial development in the country. So these are all the main points of internal external factors or factors affecting human resource planning. Then after eighth point is human resource planning procedure. What is human resource planning procedure? First is determining the goal of the company. Then after collecting data about existing manpower. Then after forecasting manpower demand. Then after estimating manpower supply. Then after preparing a plan to take needed action. First of all, determining the goal of the company. The goal of the company must be clearly spelled out before the human resource planning is undertaken. In that, for instance, an international airline company has stated its object in detail as follows. In that, to provide an efficient international air service to the people all over the country. Then, to provide the safest air service through the use of the most reliable and technically superior aircrafts of the company. Then after, to make profits along with the maintenance of the best qualities of the services. then to honor international agreements and at the same time to encourage healthy competition in the industry, then to serve national economy by accelerating the development of both the international trade and tourism, then to establish the highest norm of performance for the employees and to give them an opportunity to develop their skill to the fullest extent. Then another point is collecting data about existing manpower inventory, then skill inventory. In that manpower inventory, this involves taking an inventory of the existing personnel, that is, it is the counting of number of persons available presently. The term inventory is generally used in connection with counting the physical goods like raw materials, work in progress, finished stocks, etc. It is more useful to take manpower inventory as per department, sections, branches, and workshops at different places. Pay scales, sex, age, duration of employment in the company, qualifications and training. Then after skills inventory, an inventory of skills is also undertaken along with manpower inventory. This will show the skill and capability of the employees at all levels of organization. The method to be used for skill inventory depends on the nature of facilities available to the company. Generally, questionnaire method or interview method is used for this purpose. Whatever may be the method of skill inventory, it should provide complete and correct information. It is essential to collect following information from every employee of the company. In that, educational and other qualifications, knowledge of a foreign language, job experience, skill and expertise, other merits or skill, etc. Then after manpower audit, manpower inventory and skill inventory are followed by manpower audit. The information collected through manpower inventory and skills inventory is systematized, examined, explained and evaluated thoroughly. Then after another point is forecasting manpower demand. Estimating demand for employees is a very important aspect of manpower planning. It is necessary to estimate the requirements of employees of different skills during the period for which the company is undertaking manpower planning. Manpower requirements of a company are influenced by such factors. First is trends of employment, then replacement needs, then productivity changes, and then expansion and development of the business. Then after trends of employment, on the basis of record of the past 5 years or so, the planner should get an idea of tendency of the employees to stick to the company. Then replacement needs. By replacement is meant appointing new persons to fill vacancies that arise for one reason or another. Then after productivity changes, manpower requirements of the company are affected by changes in labor productivity. Then expansion and development. Expansion or development of the business will increase manpower requirements. Methods of demand forecasting. Following methods are useful for predicting labor requirements of the company: workload analysis, workforce analysis, and Delphi technique. In that workload analysis is used to estimate the labor required per unit of output. The amount of work to be done by each department of the company to produce the estimated output is then worked out. Then after second is workforce analysis. As stated above, we need 10 workers in department. Even if we employ 10 workers, they are not available in the department at all times. This is due to two major factors, absenteeism and labor turnover. In that, first is absenteeism, then after labor turnover. Absenteeism is equal to mandatory lost upon mandatory lost upon mandatory lost plus mandatory worked. Then after labor turnover, appointing new employees in place of those who leave the organization is referred to as labor turnover. Then third point is Delphi technique. Delphi method is named after the ancient Greek oracle at the city of Delphi. This is a method of forecasting manpower needs. This method invites forecast of personnel need from group of experts. In normal sense, such forecasts shall be demanded from managers. The human resource planning experts act as intermediaries who summarize the various responses and reports the findings back to the managers. Limitations of this technique are it is extremely time consuming and hence not appropriate to apply when a speedy decision is demanded. Then it is more complex technique. In short, it is not easy to adopt. Then after, this technique does not allow group members to meet face to face. Then estimating manpower supply. After estimating manpower demand, it is necessary to turn to manpower supply. A company can obtain labor from two types of sources. First is external sources and internal sources. Internal sources of labor. The internal sources of labor are concerned with two problems. First is what portion of the existing labor is retained, or what is the extent of labor turnover. Then after, what will be the magnitude of internal movement of labor causes by transfers and promotions. First is analysis of retention. If some of the existing employees leave organizations for any reason, it is called wastage of labor. Labor turnover rate. The formula of labor turnover rate is number of workers who left jobs upon average number of workers during the year into 100. Though this method of measurement is not completely reliable, it is useful for inter-firm comparison. It is simple to calculate the extent of wastage with it. Stability index. Then after stability index, how many workers serve in a firm continuously throughout the year can be accessed with the help of stability index method. The formula to be used is as follows. Stability rate is equal to number of employees with 1 year service upon total number of employees into 100. Thus, stability rate indicates the magnitude of labor stability. It may be fully used with the labor turnover rate, but even stability rate does not take into account the length of service of those employees who leave organization during the year in questions. Analysis of internal movement. We dealt in the above discussion with the rate of turnover and also of stability of labor in a firm. External sources of labor. Then after external sources of labor, the manager in charge of manpower planning has to arrange for the supply of labor to meet fully with the firm's requirements of labor. Then after measures for human resource planning. After estimating demand and supply of labor, the following measures are called for. In practice, demand and supply of labor will hardly balance. An attempt must be made to remove the discrepancy between the demand and supply of labor. If, for example, demand for labor exceeds supply of labor, the excess demand must be met with through recruitment. Now, advantages of human resource planning. Providing for future demand, then after high morale of workers, then after improvement in efficiency, then after availability of skilled manpower, then after control of labor cost, then after implementation of long-term plans, then after balance between demand and supply. So these are all the advantages of human resource planning. Then after limitations of human resource planning. First of all, estimates not always accurate. Estimates are not always accurate. Then another limitation is lack of information about vacancies. Then lack of cooperation from the top human resource. Then lack of information. So these are all the limitations of human resource planning. I repeat the main points of this chapter. Introduction, definition of human resource planning, characteristics of human resource planning, need for human resource planning, objectives of human resource planning, types of human resource planning, factors affecting human resource planning procedure, advantages of human resource planning, limitations of human resource planning. So these are all the main points of human resource planning as far as chapter 2 is concerned. Thank you.